Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back Behind the Stream episode 4. We're still here. It's still in effect. We are your hosts. I am Armando Gonzalez. This is Luis.
Hello,
Mitchell.
I am Luis, aka Offcast, and as you can see here, we've made a change to Behind the Stream.
Yeah.
The budget has been decreased.
Yeah,
due to poor ratings, we no longer have fancy lapel mics.
No wireless. We can't. We have to be wired now. None of that super fancy stuff. Our budget is going down slowly after each and every episode. Thank you guys for joining us.
As the viewership cuts in half, the production quality also cuts in half.
Oh man, I can't wait. 360p. Here we come. Episode 12.
Anyway, thank you for watching Behind the Stream. A couple things though, actually, on that note. So if you don't know, we're in the Philippines, and because we're in the Philippines, it's typhoon season.
Yes.
And also there is basically the underwater internet cables that connect us with a lot of places in America and Asia and stuff like that were cut for some reason. I don't know how that happens, but due to that, it basically has made the internet a little unstable here. So if you do get some lag spikes here and there, we apologize, but we can't beat Mother Nature.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be the most stable stream that we were doing, thanks in part to those sharks with the saw. What are they called? What are those things
Sharks
called?
with lasers on their
Sharks
heads.
with freaking lasers on their heads went and cut all the internet lines down in Southeast Asia. So we're going to try to do our best regardless. And even if it doesn't run smoothly here, we'll have a VOD up on our YouTube page, so make sure you follow it.
Yeah, hopefully someone is recording.
Yeah.
What we're going to do for this episode is a little bit different. We actually are going to have a special guest on this episode. We'll be bringing him pretty shortly. But first, let's appease our overlords and let you know what's new in XSplit.
Uh-oh.
And that's what's new in XSplit.
You're so fired.
Yeah, so what's new in XSplit is sometimes your videos start in the middle when they should. It's a new feature. It's to kind of play a prank on our users. But no, if you go to reddit.com/r/XSplitOfficial, you'll see our new PTR release. So if you don't know, we have the 3.1 version of XSplit is on PTR right now. We just had another version come out about a couple weeks ago. And we added, it's basically like a maintenance PTR. It's not really any specific new features, but I guess one slight change that we did was there's actually now a sub menu for stingers in your transition menu. So if you remember previously when you click on transitions, it just lists everything including the stingers, but now there's this nice little stinger section and you can find them all there. Should make it a little bit easier to maintain. Other than that, we just basically have some upgrades and improvements on our NDI functionality. So NDI should be a lot more stable and basically work better.
Yeah, in case you didn't know, you can actually run both PTR and the public release. So if you want to give it a try, head on over to the website, or you can just Google search XSplit PTR and it'll take you directly to the page. You'll find it on the first hit. And you can still use the public release that we have and then try your hand at the PTR as well, and kind of experiment with some of the new features that are coming out. So definitely check that out if you want to do some experimentation.
So to test out the new XSplit features again, let's see if our video playback feature can also do the same prank on us twice. And let's introduce our special guest for this episode.
Oh, here we go.
Yay.
SuperMCGamer. That's not in the video.
Hello everybody, I'm MC and I play fun and interesting games on YouTube. Whoa! 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 It's a big one! MC Gamer in the case of the missing lapis. Oh my god, a bad decision has been accidentally made! Yes! They've done it! Wait! Oh, I'm... Just pop the egg! I popped the egg.
Whatever you feel. My body is ready.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, so if we can go ahead and introduce him now, let him make his own introduction.
Hi, yeah, I'm MC. So that was a fun video. That was a lot of blasts from the past right there. That was fun. Yeah, I'm the organizer of Zeldathon, and I'm excited to be here. So what's up?
Yeah, so we're really excited to have you for this episode, MC. I mean, we've known you as a XSplit user for a long time. In fact, I think I've spoken to you quite a bit over the last few years. And yeah, I mean, just to kind of get into it, you know, how did you start creating content? Like, I believe you started maybe on YouTube first before transitioning over to Twitch.
Well, actually, no. I think it goes back. I kind of started on YouTube, so I started creating content on the internet way back, like probably 2006. Actually, I think my first thing I uploaded on the internet was to Google Video. Back when Google Video, it was before Google had purchased YouTube, and I made dumb like skits with a $50 camera with my friends. And back then, a $50 camera wasn't good. Like, you can get a Logitech one right now for $50. No, this $50 like camera was terrible. We made skits and stuff, and I had fun with that and all, and that was great. But I first got into like doing video game stuff on YouTube very, like, I'd say 2008 maybe-ish. I don't know. It was a long time ago.
So, I mean, for the people who might not have figured out right now, what did SuperMCGamer originally stand for?
So, not Minecraft, actually, which is what a lot of people think. Everybody sees MC and they know that I played Minecraft, and I got pretty popular playing Minecraft there for a bit.
Can I guess? Go
ahead.
Because this is the first time I've ever talked to you, and I never like really looked it up. So,
yeah.
Like, Super... it's got anything to do with Mario? No?
No.
Oh.
It actually stands for my name and the name of my friend who... the web show we did back in 2006, that when I said, like, I was uploading skits, we made like a terrible little show about Nintendo games. And of course I was like 13 or 14 at the time, so we called it MC Gamer for Matt Cutter Gamer. Cutter was the name of my friend, and I just stole the name and took it like 10 years later.
So yeah, like you had mentioned before, you'd gotten popular initially through Minecraft, but I do note that looking at your profile that you kind of dabble in everything, a little bit of speedrunning, of course the charity stuff with Zeldathon, also, you know, maybe involved in the Smash community, like a lot of different communities, right? So you know, how did you kind of dip into those? Were you always involved with all of them, or?
So it kind of first started out when I was Zeldathon kind of did come first for me. I started doing a charity marathon. We'll dive into that more in depth soon. 2009 is where I really started getting involved, but through that I just found different communities. Of course, I like to play Smash Brothers, so I've gone to some Smash tournaments. I'm not good at Smash, but I go to Smash tournaments. I've gone to the GDQ events for speedrunning, because I speedrun occasionally. I'm not good at speedrunning, but I have speedrun before, and that's kind of my thing, is that I kind of dabble in like 1,000 communities just because I've found them over time, and they're usually full of nice people, and I just like to talk to people and get to know them. And so I think more than anything, that's kind of how it's gone. And you know, since then I've just got a lot more into the charity side of things, and now I'm just trying to bring the charity side of things into those past communities that I've been a part of, like speedrunning and so forth. I got some bitrate going on right now, looks like. Holy smokes.
So, quick question: which Smash game is your main Smash?
So, you know, I want to say Melee, but honestly, if I was going to be honest, if I was going to play any one Smash game, like forever, it has to be the latest Smash 4, Smash on Wii U, just because, I don't know, there's a lot more characters in it that I like to play.
All right,
that has to be it.
So, who's your main in Wii U? Or Smash 4, sorry.
Probably Pit, but I also play Roy and Lucas.
Oh, wow. And then Melee?
I like to say I'm a Marth main, but every time I play Marth, I just get mad.
All right, on. I know a little bit about Smash. You know, I used to run a lot of tournaments in SoCal for Melee and Smash 4 and stuff like that. So I'm not a very technical person. I can barely wave dash, but you know, that's pretty cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, from doing the YouTube content, and I kind of tracked it, you know, of course, I went through a lot of Minecraft content at first, and then it kind of just really diversified quite a bit over the years.
Yeah.
But how did you go from doing like the VOD content, like how you started off, into maybe focusing more on streaming?
So it's funny because I actually, you know, Zeldathon originally was streaming. It was back on Ustream, and that was back in the day, way before Twitch. It was before. I think it was like right around the time of Justin TV. But I kind of was streaming a lot then, but then it more dipped because I thought I had this preconceived notion in my head that I wanted to be a YouTube Let's Player. I no longer really want to be a YouTube Let's Player, but you know, it was fun. It was fun. And I really enjoyed doing that for like a long time. And you know, Minecraft got me a lot of popularity back in like 2010, 11, 12, mostly that area. And people really liked that content. Of course, when you play one game for years on end, it does start to drag a little bit. And so, you know, my one true love has always been Nintendo and Zelda games. So, you know, over time I started to, you know, just kind of transition it slowly around that 2012, 2013 era into doing a lot more Zelda stuff and you know, Mario and just and any sort of game. Like I played Overwatch on stream occasionally. Overwatch was fun, but yeah, I think that's really where it happened, you know.
So kind of going into the Zelda stuff, so I mean, what was your first Zelda game ever, and what was the first Zelda video that you ever did?
Okay, so that's a good question there. So the first Zelda game, and I've told this story on stream 1,000 times. My sister, I was probably like what, 4 or 5 at this time, and my sister had a Game Boy, the big old gray one, the big old chunky one with 4 AA batteries, and she had Link's Awakening, and she never played it. She played Tetris on her Game Boy all the time, and I was like, what the heck, I want to try this game out. And so I stole it. I stole her Game Boy, and I played a bunch of Link's Awakening up until like my 5th or 6th birthday, when the Game Boy Color was like newly released, and my parents were like, okay, we're buying you your own Game Boy Color with Link's Awakening Deluxe. And so it was Link's Awakening. As for what I streamed first, or like the YouTube first, I think, I mean, if I don't count like the first Zeldathons, the first actual YouTube Let's Play thing I did was I did The Wind Waker, which is my favorite Zelda game, and I did that on YouTube. I started that like 1 month after I started a Minecraft Let's Play, and so technically Minecraft predates Zelda Let's Plays for me, but Zelda predates it with the streaming at the beginning.
All right, cool. So, I mean, I guess kind of going a little bit further with the Zelda stuff, and before we get to Zeldathon, so one of the things we wanted to do with the show was to kind of give viewers like a behind-the-scenes view of how you yourself might set up a stream. And what we've kind of done is, you know, maybe try to reverse engineer your own personal streams. So I know right now you have a streaming series called Every Zelda 100%. Can you give us like a little bit of background on how that started?
Yeah, so back in 2015, I wanted to do something fun on my stream. I wanted to do something engaging to get people involved on my channel. And so I did something called Every Zelda in April, where in April I beat every Zelda game that's canonical, like every canonical Zelda game, plus a couple of spin-offs were also included in that. And I beat it in like 180 hours or something it took me to beat all those games, something like that. And then I did it again in 2016, Every Zelda in April. And then I was going to do it in 2017, but I didn't have enough time. And I got around to like, you know, like June, July, and I was like, man, I want to do Every Zelda in April again, but it's not April. And I kind of don't want to just play the Zelda games again. I want to do something spicy or something different. And so I was like, well, what if I beat every Zelda game on stream with 100% completion? And that was a mistake. I admit that now, as I'm like 100 and some hours into the project, because it turns out there's some Zelda games that have horribly grindy mechanics, horrible mini games that are suddenly required if you're doing 100%. Right now, I'm stuck on doing a mini game, a rhythm mini game, to get one ring one ring that helps you, like gives you a special power, and I have to like do this rhythm game and I have to get 8 perfect clears in a row when usually I can't even beat it when I have 3 mistakes allowed. So I'm dying, and it's going to take me hours. But it's fun.
Wow. So, I looked at the progress bar. It's about like, what was it, like 35, a little bit over 35% so far. If I think,
yeah,
I think
and
so.
that's a rough estimation because I'm judging it by how many dungeons I complete in the Zelda series, and so that doesn't necessarily count like the grindy content after all the dungeons are complete, but before the game is technically done. So it's a rough estimation. So around 35%. I honestly think it's going to take me in total like probably 400 to 500 total hours to beat the entire challenge.
Wow. So are you trying to do these like every day? You allot a certain amount of hours in the stream to do this, and then like, or are you just trying to get through it as fast as possible?
Well, every Zelda in April is all about beating every game before the end of the 1 month, a 1 month period to beat every Zelda game. But this one, I decided because I do a lot more stuff outside of my personal stream now with charity and everything that I don't have as much time to devote. So instead, I'm not putting a time limit on the challenge. So it's just whenever it's finished. And so I do 4 streams a week. And so during those 4 streams a week, I usually devote like 4 to 5 hours into it.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. There definitely are some parts in Zelda games where you just have to grind in. After a certain amount of time, people get fatigued, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore right now.
I'm playing one of the offshoots, Triforce Heroes, where you play as where it's supposed to be a multiplayer game. Where you and 2 friends like adventure through the world together. But the problem is, I have to beat it not only in its entirety in multiplayer, I have to beat it in its entirety also in single player, where you have to control all 3 guys at once. And it's frustrating because the game was not really built for single player in mind. It kind of was an afterthought, and it shows. And in addition to beating the game twice, every level. So there's how many levels? 4 times 8. What's that? 32. Yeah, 32. Am I wrong? I don't know math. 32 levels in the game, but every one of those 32 levels also has 3 additional challenges. So technically, you have to beat the game a total of like. Well, no, I don't want to do math. I have to beat the game like 32 times or something. I have to do it but I have to do it a bajillion times. I have to beat 256 levels.
Jeez.
And it's not fun.
That's a heck of a grind.
Yeah, it's a grind.
So, yeah, what we're going to try and do then here is basically recreate what your main gameplay screen is for the every Zelda 100%.
Okay.
Of course, we might be using different systems because we don't know exactly what you're using. We're just trying to take a guess here. But, yeah, I mean, if there's at any point in time, if you want to jump in and say like, hey, I use this or I do this a little bit differently, go for it. Also, in the interest of time, we might be taking in a couple shortcuts here, but you'll see as we go on. So first, if we can go ahead and switch over here to the computer screen to show people what we're doing. The main graphic we notice, of course, has a lot of notifications near the bottom, right? So you have your subscriber goal, top tip this month, top tip this day, most recent tip. So, of course, there's many different notification systems out there. What you're seeing here is something that we've been working on internally. It's actually in beta now in player.me if you want to check it out. We're not going to go too deeply on how this is all configured out, but if you're able to, I mean, do you use your own custom build system or do you use one of the more popular ones out there now?
Yeah, I use the Streamlabs stuff, but I'm really happy with what they got, and I'm always looking for new stuff because back in the day I used to have a couple of friends who are developers. Back in the day before we had like some of the more feature-filled folks and services out there, we used to do it all custom. Like it would just all these like titles and stuff would be auto-generated by people like my friends who would just take every tip notification in like and parse the raw text so we got all these stats. Ooh. So I'm glad to see that XSplit and all these other services are starting to get into making it a little bit easier. Also, I'd like to say that this is my favorite Zelda game that you have on screen right now. I'm looking forward to playing this one.
So yeah. We'll modify it in a sec here. So I guess with most of these web services, if people don't know, they all have like a URL that you can basically place in XSplit. So for example, we just copy the link there and then we just Control V and full screen it, and now we have our overlay. Now on our end, we were kind of a little bit stumped on the total progress bar, so we didn't actually figure that out on our end. I don't know if you might be able to give people some tips on how they might be able to accomplish that.
Yeah, so that one is actually custom built by a friend of ours. He's made a thing called the Every Game Tracker, and he has it both for Zelda and Metroid, and I think he's working on other things, other series where you're able to select like what games that you're going to be playing as part of a challenge and what goals they have. So like if in Zelda 1, the goals would be like Zelda for NES, you'd have, you know, Dungeon 1, Dungeon 2, Dungeon 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you check all those off, and as you check them off, you know, it calculates the percentage, and it's just actually a web browser that we bring in that actually shows the progress bar.
Okay.
And we're able to stretch that to fit that top area. And it's a little bit roundabout of way. I have two graphics. I have the bars, so like where all the text is, just imagine all the text isn't there. Mm-hmm. And so we have the image of just the bars and like the background graphic. Then we put on like the actual progress bar web browser, and then we put a third overlay on top of that shows like total progress. But what you have going on here is pretty cool. I'm liking the timers and how they're built in right there.
Yeah, I noticed that you had a total timer that, you know, of course, all the time you spent playing the games, and then a timer per game. Or, of course, we didn't really have time to configure a theoretical total timer, but is that also kind of tied into the progress bar, or is that something just kind of separately going on?
That's tied into the progress bar page as well, yeah. So the page, in addition to keeping track of like, you know, those individual goals, you get to set like what game you are. So it's like I'm playing Zelda 1 and I hit the start timer, so it'll tick up the total timer, of course, but it'll have its own timer being like kept in memory for the game timer. So let's say like in the middle of stream I stop the timer, you know, I played an hour of Zelda 1, so it'll show an hour on both. But let's say now I play The Adventure of Link, Zelda 2, and so I switch games and start the timer. It'll tick up the game timer, which will then have reset to 0, but the total timer will still have that 1 hour that we put into Zelda 1. So that way I can keep track of how long the entire challenge has taken me, as well as how long individual games are taking me, so I can have all those different stats.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because people maybe think systems like these, like it's a nice clean layout, it looks so simple, but there's actually a lot of work and thought going into you know, making things look so clean, right, and easy to read.
Yeah, tons of sources. I definitely always like to make sure my XSplit is well stocked with scenes and different sources.
So I guess going forward, just kind of doing, I guess, the more basic stuff that people know is, you know, adding your gameplay, or your, I guess, what do people call it, the face cam or the player camera.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and add that here. And so
there he is.
I haven't really I was kind of assuming, maybe because of the way this frame was laid out, that you perhaps were using something that was in 4:3 resolution, or are you using your camera set to something that's 16:9?
I use 16:9, so that way, so some of the Zelda games, like the Game Boy games, they actually are they're like a 1:1 aspect ratio, and so, you know, when I justify the game, I have a lot of extra space to play with, so I'm able to use my 16:9 camera to help fill out that space just with my background.
Okay, yeah, so if people don't know how to configure their webcam to 16:9, basically you can click on it in the source menu, click on settings, or just right click it straight away, click on configure, click on video output, and then just choose an output size that's 16:9. So I'll just choose 720 right now. And so the cool thing with XSplit is, at least it's not a super new feature, but you can kind of drag your source off the screen a bit. I don't know if
which is so nice, may I add. Thank you, XSplit overlords. I when that got added, my life was simplified. I loved everything. I didn't have to crop everything. I was like, this is the greatest. Thank you.
Yeah, because when you start cropping, it's hard to still with aspect resolution and stuff like that. And speaking of cropping, now we built in when you just hold the Alt tab and go to the edge, you can just crop your source here. And then just to kind of make it look nice and clean in the overlay, just drop it a layer down lower. Is that kind of similar to how you probably set up your face camera?
Exactly. I usually also I cheat a little bit more, and when I put in the game, I just put the game over the webcam underneath the overlay, so that way I don't even have to crop it. So I can do it even like easier and cheaper.
Nice. So it was kind of funny when our team was actually working on replicating this overlay. They actually thought that your background. I don't know if we can switch back to your camera real quick. We'll go ahead and do that right now. But so they thought that your background was actually chroma keyed in. They didn't think that was an actual realistic background, and I'm guessing it's just soundproofing you have.
This is the real world I have back here. It's amazing.
So this is actually something that I was kind of curious about. So we're going to kind of fudge adding the gameplay here. We're just going to add a video. But so I was a little bit interested in this where at least I feel like we made the right proportion size on the overlay, but as you can see, it doesn't really fit properly. Did we maybe get that wrong, or how do you have it laid out so that like a 16:9 game will fit nicely into that frame?
Yeah, so I have what I would hi Link, he's just looking at me. I usually downsize the game to fit like the minimum width, which I usually like. So I would probably take a little less. I'd have a little less width for my face cam, just a little bit, because I know that there's a minimum space that my face needs. I got a big face, so I got to make sure there's enough space for me. So you would have the black bars, the letterboxing on the top and bottom then, but what I usually do to help make that a little bit less bad looking is I make a copy of the video of the video capture, and I put it below, and I crop it inwards like, I don't know, 10-20% on every side, and resize it appropriately to fit the whole box, and then I desaturate the video and turn the brightness down, so that way it's like you're still seeing the gameplay there, but it's very unnoticeable. It's very, I mean, if XSplit added a blur feature, I don't want to take this platform to like tout my own feature wish list. But if there was a blur feature, that would look pretty slick and crisp, if I do say so myself.
Well, I mean,
so I guess I get the effect that he's trying to do. It's like when you're watching a show on TV, right? Which most everything is like 16:9 when you're watching it. Yeah. And sometimes they go back to these old clips that are 4:3, and what they wind up doing is stretching the video in the back and blurring it out, so it takes up the full resolution of the TV. So you're seeing a video on top of a video, but the sides, because 4:3 doesn't fill out 16:9, it's part of the video, just not as noticeable, but you'll see the movement. That's pretty awesome, man. That's pretty slick.
Yeah, that way, so that we can still, and we use that during Zeldathon as well, because we have a maximum width the game can be, but sometimes the game doesn't fill out the entire height when it goes to the maximum width. We give width priority over height. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Holy smokes, I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah. So I was kind of digging around the archives, but I didn't find anything. So when you get in a tip or a new subscriber, do you have another like pop up on this overlay or a sound effect that happens?
Yeah, I have Link pops up like down on the player cam, like at the very bottom of the player cam, and he does a little animation of holding up nothing. There's actually nothing there, but then the text is from Streamlabs, and it just says, so and so donated this much or so, and during Zeldathon we have something much more complex, which we'll talk about later, but I keep it simple for the actual every Zelda streams. So
one thing too is, of course, you're playing Zelda games from N64 to Wii to maybe even NES games and Game Boy games and stuff like that, which means that you're capturing a wide variety of sources that go from composite all the way to HDMI and stuff like that. So I'm guessing you probably have a very particular type of capture card that you use to handle all those different sources.
Yeah, so I have a combination. I have my capture card is the X Capture 1. It's a USB 3.0 capture card. I'm sure you're familiar, but for the sake of the audience, it's just a USB 3.0 little box. It's we're not on my scene, but just imagine it's about the size of 2 decks of cards. Oh, here we go. We got some. It's about yay big. It's about yay big, about the size of your hand and about this thick. I would pull it out, but it is connected to my computer. And it's really nice. It's a USB 3.0 capture card, so you don't have to fiddle around with internal cards as well, although I have a couple internal cards, but I use this one mainly. And it's connected via HDMI to a FrameMeister and XRGB Mini, which is an upscaler unit, so that way you can plug in like a NES, and it will automatically and amazingly, it's so great. The FrameMeister I could talk about all day. It'll upscale it from the 240p up into 720 or 1080p, whatever you want, and do it in a crisp way. Like, so many people come to my channel, like, so you're playing on emulator, right? I'm like, no, this is just good stream technology right here. And,
I think we can actually pull it up here right now.
Yeah, there's the X-Capture 1, and connected to that we have the FrameMeister. Yeah, the X-Capture 1 is a good piece of hardware on its own, and it does upscaling without the FrameMeister. You can see it has like VGA in and has DVI in, or actually I think that's not DVI, that's
the D sub for a component in RGB.
Yeah,
right?
D terminal. Yeah, D terminal port, and so you can plug in D terminal, which if you know what D terminal is, congratulations. It's a good day to be alive. But you can do the audio in as well with the white and red composite. And I don't know what's on the other side. I usually just do HDMI in, so I usually don't know as much about the actual X-Capture ports.
Yeah, because the FrameMeister has the HDMI out.
Mm-hmm.
But I do got to say, getting these 2 pieces of hardware is not the easiest.
No.
No, they are the higher end in terms of stream technology. I think they each run basically $300 a pop, so it's $600 if you want like ultimate 10 out of 10 stream quality in terms of like retro games. It's worth it, but if you're starting out, you can get an upscaler online, like from Amazon. You can get a nice $30-$50 one. They may not be the greatest thing in the world. They may not they may burst into flames after a year. I don't know, but you know what? You'll get your money's worth when you're starting out as a streamer. I've had a capture card burst into flames. Have we talked about that? I don't think we've talked about that.
Capture card burst into flames.
Yeah, a quick aside. I've had this discussion before. So before our what was it, 10th or 11th? I think 11th Zeldathon, our 11th Zeldathon St. Jude. I had my computer all ready for the stream. I was bringing it out into my living room because this was our last marathon we did from my house rather than a hotel, like a ballroom. And I'm plugging in stuff into my AverMedia capture card, which I had at the time, into the back of the computer, plugging in HDMIs, having a good time, you know how you do. And all of a sudden, I plug in an HDMI cable, and the capture card spits fire, and everything connected to that HDMI was fried. The TV was fried. The computer broke. It was done. Like everything I believe there must have been some electrical anomaly that happened at that moment. So this is not a cautionary tale. I mean, I think it was a freak occurrence, but it was a scary moment when my capture card spit fire at me.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I don't even know what to say after that. It's like that's the first time I've ever heard of a capture card. Wow. I have seen something happen with the PC where I'm not sure if it was capture card, but the PC just kind of had tons of smoke coming out of it and it was done. But I think you might be a pioneer there in capture cards. I mean, the most I've seen is like, capture cards flying across the room, but that's not because of their own end. Oh, wow. Okay. That's
so, kind of given that, you do have a lot of high-end equipment and unique stream equipment that maybe the general novice streamer wouldn't have. Given even all that, I mean, what would you say, like, to aspiring streamers? So should they go for the best of the best first, or do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, no, I don't think the best of the best is always the right solution at the very beginning. I mean, I'm using a Logitech webcam right now, and I do for every one of my streams, despite Here, prefer some professional camera panning. Hold on. Ready for it? It's happening. Despite having the big boy over here, the Blackmagic Studio camera, I got this baby right here. It's all hooked up to my computer right now. I could be using it. But you know why I don't use it? Because it's a pain to set up, it's a pain to get in focus, and a pain... I can't mount it on the top of my monitor like I'm using right now because it's huge. It's huge. It doesn't work. And so Logitech webcams, they run you like $50, $90. They do the job. You know, do you need an X capture one? No. You can probably get off scot-free with a nice $50, $100 capture card. It may not last you forever. It may not give you true 1080p, 4K, 60 FPS, but it'll get you through. It'll get you through. And you know, you don't need a super fancy microphone. Get the old Microsoft Live Chat special at Walmart. You know, it'll do you well. Those things are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And then, you know, another thing too is obviously, you know, you have a well-designed stream as well. I mean, you know, I know it took time to meet the right people and network and stuff like that to get all these different features and capabilities with your stream. But I mean, do you have any tips on someone that's maybe like, you know, trying to go from making word art graphics to how they could maybe find resources to maybe improve the design of their stream?
I think that a lot of times, if you're not like really involved in graphic design, like you don't have Photoshop, or I mean, if you have GIMP or Paint done that, whatever you have, if you can make some stuff your own, that's fine. But I'd say even starting out, and I still do this on occasion when I don't want to say lazy, that's not the word for it. When I'm expecting a higher tier caliber, I like to commission people. You know, even if you find like friends or something that might give you, you know, a nice little rate, you know, pay your artists well, tip them well. But you know, you don't need to go for the highest end artists, but you know, find someone who can do your graphics and your artwork for you, and that also helps them because you know you can get some cross promotion. Like if you're trying to make a stream design, there's so many people out there that, you know, it may be sometimes as simple as making boxes in Photoshop and putting gradients on them, but you know who can do it probably better than a lot of people? The people who've already done it before. And you know, there's a lot of that has to go into in terms of like color theory and like making sure what you put on your stream matters and is in focus, because you don't just add a bunch of GIFs to your stream and call it a day. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know, think about it and think about what matters.
So to kind of, you know, wrap up this segment here for your personal stream and how you started out and stuff like that, and before we transition over to talking about Zeldathon and stuff, would you have like a tip or two to give maybe someone who's just starting into streaming, starting into making YouTube content? I mean, what is just like some basics or general stuff that you can say would help, or advice?
I'd say the two basic things, the two biggest things are just stream. I see so many people, and I know this probably been said a billion times. I see people all the time say, I'm thinking about getting into streaming. I got some more work to do, some things I got to think about. So I still need to get my stream layout done. I need to get my stream alerts finished and ready to go. I need to figure out what game I'm gonna play. I need to do this and that and this and that. I'm like, just stream. You don't need the Elgato Stream Deck now working with XSplit to get going. You know, I'm showing out for you guys. I hope you enjoy. I think that just people need to have fun, get ready, go and have a good time. Don't worry about your audience. Don't worry about your viewer count. Invite a couple people there to watch and just enjoy. And second of all, if you want the first thing you should do to increase your stream quality, we'll make it two things because I can't stop myself. The first one is make sure your stream layout, just make the game as big as possible and put your webcam somewhere that it won't interfere with the game. There's your first stream layout. You know, you don't need to mess with alerts if you want to put on alerts. You don't need to mess with backgrounds or anything. Doesn't matter if it's a black background. You know, just start out simple, and then as you learn more about XSplit or whatever software you're using, and you know, for alerts, you can just learn and get better. Just keep it simple. And number two, just make sure your audio balancing is good. You know, so many first time streamers that they'll have a decent like voice, a decent stream layout, but they just you can't hear them. Their audio faders all the way down here. You can't hear them, or their game is way too loud, or the game is a little bit too low. Just a little bit of audio balancing knowledge will help you go a long way real quick. So I think those are my 3 big tips.
Yeah, and I mean, on that note of being a super shill squad, if we can, we do actually have a special promo going on for this episode of Behind the Stream. If we can pull that up, and I'll let Mondo take over on letting the people know.
Well, this is new for me, but wait, what was this? Behind the Stream? Okay, use the promo code Behind the Stream P4 EP4. Is that what it is? I can't read this.
Yeah,
it's
Behind the Stream.
Behind the Stream.
EP4 episode
4. Can we make? I need to have a talk with somebody. Anyways, if you want to try out XSplit, you want to get 15% off any and all the licenses, correct?
Yes.
Use the promo code here, Behind the Stream EP4, episode number 4. We're still here. We're still around here. So yeah, get yourself 15% off. Check it out. Download the software, try it out. And again, we have PTR. So if you're one of those people that likes to experiment with up and coming features that aren't a part of the current public release, definitely make sure you check out our PTR.
May I recommend the lifetime option when you're choosing your XSplit license? Because then you never have to worry about it ever again. You're set. You're good. And if I know anything about the XSplit team and how they've developed their software, it's only going to get better. Because sometimes I hear people like, but XSplit doesn't have this feature. I'm like, oh yeah? Come back to me in a month, and then it'll have it, and it'll be even better. It'll go beyond their expectations. That's usually how XSplit goes, at least in my experience.
Lifetime using the code Behind the Stream EP4 only at xsplit.com.
So given that, I think it's time to maybe go over into the next section, which is Zeldathon. And before we go back to talk with MC, let's actually take a look at the trailer for the next upcoming Zeldathon event.
Oh, get hype!
The middle of the video.
That's the beginning.
For Zeldathon, unlike
There we
any
go.
other.
Because we're not playing Zelda.
That's right. It's anything other than Zeldathon.
So what games are we playing?
Here's the lineup.
That's pretty sick. You know what? Watching that video right there this weekend, no lie, I have been putting off playing Luigi's Mansion for the longest time, and I have it, and I still have it. But watching it in that video, I'm definitely going to play that this weekend. But so yeah, definitely check out the event. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. It's going to be my time checking it out as well. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, if you didn't catch it, it begins on September 29th on twitch.tv/Zeldathon, right? Or twitch.tv/SuperMCGamer, is that correct?
It's SuperMCGamer, but luckily our good friends at Twitch have twitch.tv/Zeldathon redirect to my channel, so that'll work too. It'll work out just fine.
So, I mean, I know we're talking about Zeldathon, and it's actually kind of funny that we open with a trailer for anything but Zeldathon, but so yeah, can you give us like a little bit of how the genesis of Zeldathon, how did this all start for you?
Yeah, so how it started, and I kind of alluded to this. This has been a long build-up and a lot of foreshadowing in this episode of Behind the Stream. So back in the day, I talked to my friend Zach, and I talked to him at my high school locker because he was the locker next to me, and I had watched the Speed Gamers, TSG.TV, if you don't know about them, and they had done a Zelda marathon that year, 2009. and they did a bunch of charity marathons. And I went to my friend Zach and I said, that was amazing. They did this charity marathon where they played video games. We should do that. And he was like, sure, me and you, we'll do it over Christmas break. And he was late to the stream by 6 hours, and so we started at 4 p.m. on December 27th of 2009. And it was just two of us. There was two people trying to run a charity marathon. Eventually, my friend Robin did show up, and it was absolutely amazing when she did, because we suddenly had 3 people, and it energized us for another 12 hours. And whatever, the marathon ends, and we raised $301 for Child's Play charity. Woohoo! And I didn't want to do a Zeldathon ever again because it was exhausting. Luckily, that friend Robin came to me and was like, we have a senior project we need to do for high school. Why don't we do another Zeldathon this summer? And I was like, no. It's like, come on, it'll be an easy senior project. I'm like, fine. And so we did another one. That one raised $3,000 for the American Cancer Society. And then we just started getting in a rhythm of doing one every winter and summer. Forever. And that's pretty much how it went. We've done a couple fall marathons. I did a spring marathon once, just like little 72-hour bonus events. And at this point, we're coming up on anything other than Zeldathon, which is Marathon 20, and that one is starting September 29th, as mentioned. And then we have our big Zeldathon that, of course, goes back to the Zelda series. This is going to be our big event, and that's Zeldathon Mission, again on December 27th. And that one is also being brought to you by XSplit. XSplit had the paper signed this week, so we are all good and officially sponsored by XSplit as of this week. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's actually great. I remember back in the day, kind of going into the history between us two, is I think one of our first few interviews was with you and talking about the Zeldathon event. And yeah, it's been a great event for us to support. So I guess between streaming and creating content and Zeldathon, that's kind of like your career, I guess, or right? Your main focus?
No, I mean, so in addition to Zeldathon, over time, I wanted to do more with charity, and Zeldathon is not a very good career choice unless we started to like sell out hard with Zeldathon. Like if we were getting sponsors just for the sake of getting sponsors, not sponsors that matter to us, that'd be one way to do it. Or if we were like doing marathons like every couple months, and we're collecting ads and doing all this stuff, and that's not the spirit of Zeldathon. Zeldathon is getting together a group of people and raising money for charity, and that's what we should be raising money for. Yeah, we get Twitch subscriptions and bits. They do eventually come to us to help run the events, but if there's only one paid person in Zeldathon, and it's me, and it's not a very good salary. But luckily, I also do work with other charities. Like Direct Relief is the charity that we're raising for this winter, and I work with them. I'm a contracted worker, and I help them get more gamers involved in fundraising. Of course, they've been doing a lot of hurricane relief efforts as of late, and so it's been a busy time with them. But no, that I would say that my career has been charity gaming, and it's evolved from being Let's Playing and Zeldathon to Zeldathon and streaming to just Zeldathon, and now it's like Zeldathon and all these other charities. So it's been a steady like transformation over time.
So kind of going into that, of course, I believe most people would be familiar with like charity fundraising through gaming. Like, of course, they know the Awesome Games Done Quick and Summer Games Done Quick. So how would you say Zeldathon differs between those type of events? I know it's not necessarily focused on speedrunning per se, but it is playing very different games. I mean, what kind of atmosphere is different with Zeldathon?
It's definitely something different than GDQ. GDQ is really great, and I love what they do. Absolutely, 100%. But their events are very, very tied to like what is the focus at GDQ? It's usually the games and the games being played, and how fast can you beat them? What makes these games really amazing? And that's why it's called Awesome Games Done Quick. Well, at Zeldathon, we celebrate the Legend of Zelda series every time, definitely, and we do a lot of Zelda-related content, and we make sure the games get a nice spotlight. But the fact of it is, we're coming up on Marathon 20 and 21, where we've played every Zelda game, and it's one of those things where it's like, how much like how often do these people come to Zeldathon because they want to see The Legend of Zelda be played for the upteenth time? And how many times do they just want to come because we have this amazing team together? These people who are really energetic and they want to do good for the charity. And, you know, we still make sure there's a lot of focus on Zelda. But I think different than GDQ, our atmosphere is we have this cast. These cast of people who are really amazing. Some of my best friends I've ever known. And I'm so glad that they're part of this because we do wacky things, you know. At GDQ, they occasionally have. I've seen goals where they have like, you know, singing Disney songs while they play Kingdom Hearts, and that's really cool. But you know, that's like out of the norm for GDQ. Well, that's like the norm for Zeldathon, and we do stuff, you know, pies to the face, like $50 for a charity, pie in the face, easy money. That's how it goes. Or we have a lot of musicians we've been bringing in, and it's really cool because we have this like live band. So you know, one night every Zeldathon's become kind of tradition now. We have the jam train where the more donations we get in a row, the longer the band plays, and we do that for like up to like an hour or two. We don't want to like dominate the stream forever with it, but we usually put it during like one of the longer Zelda games so that we're not like interrupting a ton of content or anything. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and I think that's how Zeldathon's different.
And you know, having done so many Zeldathons, I mean, would you say you have moments where like this is like the absolute high? Top 2, 3, 4, 5 moments for Zeldathon, and this is like, oh, this is the absolute worst, or challenges you might have had to overcome?
So which one's the Baby Rage and which one's the Pogchamp?
Yeah, okay, so let's start Pogchamp moments. We have moments where we have $1,000 donations coming in. We have, you know, 1,000 people donating $1. We get so much money coming in for the charities, and everybody in the room. It's amazing when there's a big donation at Zeldathon because, you know, the stream room, our marathon ballroom, could have like, you know, 6 people in it, maybe 7. Got one person on tech desk, one person on donation station, and a handful of people on camera on the couch talking to the audience. Pretty chill. We're playing a boring Zelda game usually, and all of a sudden, we hear the $1,000 donation noise start kicking up. We have like a chorus that sings to us at $1,000. It's amazing, and all of a sudden, people are running in the ballroom from different rooms. They're like, "I heard the noise. What's going on?" And everybody's looking at the screens, being like clapping, and it's amazing that energy that comes out. So that's only the Pogchamp moment of a century, and it happens so often every Zeldathon. And you know, the music performances they're also really hype. As for the Baby Rage moments, I guess when my computer exploded a day before Zeldathon, or a couple days before Zeldathon, that was Baby Rage and a half. And I'd say the latest marathon, we had a lot of technical difficulties, and it was so unfortunate because we couldn't do anything about them. We had our internet that we had installed at the hotel. We do a test on our internet. We're not idiots. We know what we're doing. We put our tests on the internet before we ever go live, and everything seemed fine. Our bit rate's great. We're gonna be able to stream, you know, 720p, 60 FPS, you know, 6,000 bit rate. Let's get it done. And lo and behold, every like hour to 3 hours, our stream just drops, and we drop like half of our viewership when that happens. It's terrible. And we finally figured out that it's apparently a problem with the in-wall installation that can't be fixed before the marathon's over. So we have to put up with our stream dropping, our viewership dropping, and of course our donations then also dropping because there's less people to donate. And it was a Baby Rage moment and a half because it was one of those Zeldathon moments where I could do nothing to fix it. There was absolutely nothing in our control to fix it, and it sucks. And similarly to that marathon, we also had PayPal go on the fritz and start processing donations for us like a day afterwards. And you know, part of the fun of Zeldathon is you make your donation and Link walks on screen and opens up a chest and there's your donation. And when it's a day delayed, that's not as fun. So I think those are definitely the more Baby Rage moments.
So I guess kind of taking a little bit of a peek behind the scenes. So of course you have all the people that are on stage, you know, on the couch, participating on stream. But I mean, can you give us like an idea? I mean, you guys are running a marathon, so 24 hours. Like, how much manpower is going to actually like maintaining and running that stream?
So on the team that we usually we have a big Zeldathon team, but you know, not everybody can make it every marathon. We usually have about 60 to 70 attendees per marathon, and we try to tier our sleep schedules. But no matter how much I can preach before the marathon begins, I'm like, everybody tier your sleep schedules or else things are gonna suck. It always sucks because you hit like 6 a.m. and everybody was up all night and the people who were up all night are like falling asleep on the couch on stream. There's like, please, morning people, please wake up. And the morning people walk in at 8 a.m. with their official Zeldathon water bottles in hand, and they're all like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" They're all happy, and everybody who was up the entire night was like, "Please take the couch from me. This is horrible. I'm tired." It always sucks. We never tier our sleep schedules enough. It never works out. But like I said, we usually have somebody on tech station. That's the person manning XSplit, watching the Twitch chat for any spammers and stuff like that. We have the person on audio mixing for our mixer, making sure all audio levels are good, everything's balanced right, a little bit of EQ settings for fun. Donation station, this is one person who sits behind this very microphone usually and reads every donation that comes through, with a couple of exceptions. When we have like huge trains, we might have to start skipping a couple donations, but this is the microphone that they talk behind. And then we usually have 3 to 6 people on the couch set up. Not on one couch. We have a couch and a couple chairs behind. That many people on one couch would be dangerous. But we have a little cast that usually helps entertain the audience. And then any given time, we usually have 5 to 10 people who are awake at the time, but just around the marathon helping set up like some sort of event or donation incentive. At any time, it's pretty random exactly how many people we have, but that's a general idea.
And then just one last question real quick before we go into kind of breaking down maybe the Zeldathon stream setup. So, given that there's all this tech stuff, what's setting up the stream, running the stream, manning it, finding talent, like aside from that, like what would you say is like one of the like hardest logistical issues for putting together like these charity streams? Like I know for me personally, doing stuff with conventions, like it's always a nightmare to like get internet that's stable and doesn't cost a fortune. But I mean, what are some things that people might not know is kind of hard to deal with behind the scenes?
I feel like some of the hardest things to do with a charity, like a long charity broadcast, like getting a good charity is easy. There's plenty of charities out there who are talking up how good they are, and I love helping recommend charities. And getting a good group of people, and the late night shifts can be hard, but more than anything, like after a while, it's just about keeping positive. I think that is absolutely the biggest thing that charity streams need to remember is positivity, and it's hard, and it happens to us still at Zeldathon. No matter how many marathons we've done, where people start feeling bad. After 3 days of eating hot dogs and sitting on a couch staring at 1,000 lights staring at you, looking at Zelda, and you're just like, I'm tired. Everything sucks. I need real food. It's about being able to take breaks and pace yourself, because it is a marathon, not a sprint, and you got to keep positive. Because if you're sitting on camera and you're frowning and you're sad and you're like, thanks for the donation, people aren't hyped. People aren't gonna watch. People aren't gonna donate. You have to be able to go, thanks for the donation. You have to smile. You have to be happy. You have to be about why you're there. And so taking personal care of yourself, getting food, getting rest, getting social time off camera. I think that's all what makes a successful charity stream, is when people are just are happy and positive.
Awesome. So now let's get into what people are probably excited about, is figuring out how do you do it? How do you do Zeldathon? Because I watched this and you have a pretty again, like it may look simple to the untrained eye, but there's a lot of stuff going on.
And that's how it works. That is the magic of Zeldathon. Everybody's like, oh, I can understand everything that's going on my stream right now. It's like, good. Well, that's the way we wanted it, because it's actually a mess of code behind the scenes.
So again, we're a lot of stuff is like, of course, web-based, coded, and stuff like that. So if we can go ahead and switch over to here. So we've kind of made, again, that's not Zelda at all.
No,
but
it's the new first-person Zelda with a modern twist.
The master
this crossbow training.
So again, we have here an overlay that's web-based. A lot of the alerts and stuff like that are kind of built in. So one thing that we weren't, and if you missed earlier, oops, sorry, that's not it. We're just gonna copy this URL here and paste that in so we can have the overlay. So one thing we weren't really able to show is your actual start screens or your downtime screens. So a lot of times you're playing like video game music in the background, and I'm guessing that's all kind of just something else that's coded on top of everything, right?
Yeah, we usually just use foobar. So like when we're on the between screens, what we usually do is we have a camera, usually a Logitech webcam at that point, mounted up as high as we can get it, kind of pointed down at the whole Zeldathon stream area, and we put an overlay over it that shows like some of our sponsors, where people can donate, social media stuff, and of course we play the music from foobar. We usually have a preset playlist before every event, so that way we can make sure we have appropriate music for every game transition.
So another thing, and you kind of gave us a little bit of behind the scenes already with it, which is with Zeldathon, of course, there's more people on the couch, on the chairs in the back, so you need something that's a wider shot. So we're kind of cheating here by using a video clip, but as you can see, we have some of our staff who volunteer to take part here. Hold on a sec, let me just position that quickly. But I guess while I'm setting this up, how do you set up like that, the main camera for Zeldathon?
Yeah, so the camera shot for Zeldathon, I wish I could trademark a freaking camera shot, because I found it to be so good. And you guys have done a pretty good recreation right here, so props to you. And the idea of being able to see like we're not directly on the side, like we're not like on the side of the couch where you're only seeing like the profile of everybody. You're seeing like the fronts of their face as well. And you know, we have this ability to, I don't know, it's personal, and we make sure the camera's facing like exactly like you have right here, so everybody's looking inwards towards where the game would be, you know, on the right hand side. Because if everybody was looking the opposite way, it would look so dorky. It's like, where are you looking? Even though the game's like not actually there, it kind of is. I don't know if that makes sense. You know, we want to make sure it looks and makes sense logistically, so everybody's looking in this shot to the right where the game would be and having fun. And this is really cool. I like this offshoot XSplit Zeldathon. This is a good collaboration. I like it.
Hold on here. So
somebody needs to lock their source.
Yeah. I've been exposed.
You'll get there eventually. It takes time.
So yeah, if people don't know how to do that, hold on, let's put this top layer. You go in and it's in layout and click lock position right there. That way when you're changing your scene, you don't change the wrong source or move something out of position.
You just don't accidentally
there you go.
move it. Yeah.
Yeah, so as you can see, I think that's actually a good thing that you point out, because it's a small aesthetic thing that I think a lot of streamers don't do initially, which is, you know, if you're gonna angle your camera or not have it straight on you, if you have it like at a side profile or slightly on the side of your profile, you definitely want to make sure you position your camera frame where it looks like you're kind of looking at the gameplay.
No.
Exactly. And so something of a note, and we've had this happen in Zeldathon, and how we kind of developed like the actual like proportions of like how big the game is and how big the gameplay is interesting, because you know, a lot of people say, well, why don't you have the game bigger, and why aren't you just like overlaying the players on top of it? So we did a lot of like research, and back in the day we actually did this crazy experiment we did once, where we said to the world, we're going to try this stream layout. It was called Zeldathon Adventure, and it was a marathon where we had the game, the camera, like as big as this camera right here, and we had the game be about half height, and so hard to line this up like this. But why don't I have XSplit open? It was like about this big. It was about this big. Yeah, that makes sense right there. It was about this big. Does that make sense? Yeah, right here. Perfect. It was about that big on my camera, and we had the couch there. And the collective thing, and I already see inside our wonderful chat here, it says the game is too small. That was the joke of the marathon. We realized, okay, Mario Marathon, which is another great charity group, they've done this layout for ages. They've done it forever, and nobody's ever complained. But when we did it with Zeldathon, everybody was like, this sucks. And so we changed our layout because we realized that, like I mentioned before, people come to Zeldathon because they want to see the cast of characters we have, the people that we have, entertaining them. And the idea of Zeldathon is like the whole experience of, friends on a couch playing a game. And so we didn't want to have the game be small, obviously, but we wanted to make sure that the webcam could also be large. And so that's the kind of like how we eventually developed the layout that we did. And I think it captures that feeling well. And we're not wasting a single pixel on screen, which is one of my favorite things. Is like we like in terms of stream layouts, you'll see people who have like empty space. At Zeldathon, I don't think like the empty space we have is far and few between.
Yeah, so I guess kind of going aside from maybe the video feed. So of course like you said before, it's the big Blackmagic cinema camera or
Blackmagic studio camera HD.
Studio camera, and you're just feeding that through SD, I guess, through a capture card.
Yeah, we have a Magewell capture card for that.
And then, of course, like we explained earlier with the layout for your mainstream, just using a FrameMeister into an X Capture One, right, to be able to go through the different consoles and different games fairly easily. Yeah,
and then of course the capture card also will return the gameplay to a TV that we have in front of the player, so that way they don't have to play on a small screen or anything.
So aside from getting these different feeds, and like I said here, we've kind of just faked it by using videos, but yeah, you just add your capture cards at sources, you crop them appropriately, and just layer the overlay on top of all of that. Now going into the stuff here that's near the bottom of the screen, now of course there's the donation amounts and the time that a person's been playing the game. Now for this loop here, is that something that's just kind of an automated video, or is it run with the program or something like that? The one like right here in the center bottom.
So everything except for the camera and the gameplay is all on the same overlay that we have. It's actually a harsh contrast to every Zelda 100%, where our scenes are usually pretty minimal in terms of how many sources we have on there. And so the overlay where we have like the dungeon area where we haven't discussed that yet, where donations come in, with the bottom bar and everything, and we usually also have social media in the upper left-hand corner. This is all part of one web browser source that we have coded. So the where the icons are at the bottom, where it says Twitch, where we put sponsors, where we put what we're raising for. We'll also put in like upcoming donation goals, or we allow people to suggest file names with their donations for like the next game. Like they get to name Link. So we put like the top 3 voted names up there, so that way people can see what's in the lead and what they can donate for. We put all that information down there, and that all runs as part of one web browser source.
So is there someone actually kind of manipulating this web browser source, or is it just like the streamer that's also running the broadcast doing that as well?
It's all pretty much automatic. We usually have everything pretty locked down beforehand, so there's usually not much we need to do to modify during the stream. Things that we do have to modify during the stream, we have something called the goal wheel, where if somebody donates $30 or more, we spin a wheel that comes up on the overlay and tells the couch to do something silly, as thanks for the $30 donation. And those type of things, they are manually controlled by the person who's at our donation station. We have a little bit of a control panel there.
So one thing, unfortunately, we weren't able to really recreate or even kind of fake here is, as you see, there's like this section right under the gameplay where I believe if there's like a donation, an animation will come out, right, with Link. Can you explain a little bit how that works?
Yeah, so that is absolutely something amazing. So we have our own donation platform where people are able to donate. It's called Kinstone, and when people go and they donate to the charity using our service, whether through PayPal or credit card, it's processed. And when it's processed, it sends a notification to our overlay saying, "Hey, like we just got a $5 donation from SuperMCGamer." And so then the animation starts, and this is all wonderfully programmed by our development team. Shouts to them in case any of them are listening in right now. Where Link walks in the screen, a chest falls from the ceiling, and he opens it up, and a little text box says, $5 received from SuperMCGamer, and if there's another donation after that, Link will stay in place, another chest will fall, and he'll open it up, and he'll open up another donation. Or he'll just walk off screen, and we have all sorts of other animations for the characters there. We have, in addition to the donations, with Link, we have a little animated Zelda, Ganondorf, Tingle, all these Zelda characters that will also have the ability to walk in and open up donations. But we have other things like Link will walk in and he'll step on a switch and light a torch when we achieve one of our goals, goal achieved, let's go slap somebody in the face with a pie. And we also have Link walks in and there's a Stalfo, a skeleton enemy, and Link walks in and hits him with his sword when we unlock a game or something, because sometimes we do goals to upgrade or unlock games to be played, and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome, and also must be very intricate. I would love to meet whoever developed that, or if it was a team. Yeah, because that's some amazing work right there.
It's crazy stuff, and I thank my dev team as much as I can, because they are volunteers, that they're not paid. I wish so much I could just shovel money their way, because they do such great work every marathon. We always run into issues. I mean, it's always going to happen, and the best part is, despite us having issues, the dev team always is able to respond to issues fast and quickly. And it's amazing because we've also had members of our dev team get to come to the marathons, and I think it hits home a lot more when they get to come to the events and see their creation in action, and they get to be one of those people running in from the other room when they hear the $1,000 donation noise, and suddenly like, wait a minute, that donation noise played because I typed code into my computer, and it's amazing.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, before we move on to opening up to some questions from the chat, is there any tips you can give to someone, either someone maybe starting something with their friends to do maybe a marathon, or doing it solo? If they're just kind of trying to dip their toes into this either marathon or charity fundraising field, is there good ways to start, or make sure you drink proper stuff?
I think that the biggest tips I can give are, one, again, like I said before, just do it. There's a website called Tiltify. They're really great. They help you facilitate charity donations a lot easier, rather than going to a charity and getting their PayPal email address and writing your own code for a whole donation platform. You can just use Tiltify. Obviously, having a custom coded solution like Zeldathon is obviously the preferred way, but it's not always the easiest way. But Tiltify makes it easy. You can start a campaign, raise for any number of charities, and just do your research on the charity beforehand. Make sure the charity you're donating to is efficient and good with their money. Usually, any of the charities that Zeldathon has raised for in the past is a pretty good bet, at least in my opinion. And make sure you have a good group of friends. The mistake that we made with the first Zeldathon, and why I almost never did a Zeldathon again, was because we had two people trying to run a 72-hour broadcast. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Side note: during that marathon, we had one point during the marathon in the middle of the night on Ustream where both of us had fallen asleep, including the game player Zach. He was playing Ocarina of Time, and he just fell asleep in the middle of Hyrule Field, and so Link was just there on his horse. And it was just playing, looping the music over and over again, and everybody was asleep. And so that was a good moment in Zeldathon history. That was back when we used XSplit before it was called XSplit. We're not going to talk too much about that, but you had to the software, you didn't yet have actual encoding to Ustream enabled, so we had to stream to Adobe Live Media Encoder or something.
I think that was
Flash Media Encoder,
the VH screen cap era.
Yeah, that was a very long time ago.
Studio.
Yeah,
that was back in the day. That's how long I've been into XSplit. But eventually, XSplit grew with us. It's been really touching, and I think everybody should just keep growing their streams and not worry about what your first stream is going to be like, because if our first Zeldathon was anything to look at, it wasn't. We fell asleep. We were using some old software. We were using an overheating laptop, and we had not enough people. So just do it. Do a charity stream. Use Tiltify. Make sure that 100% of the donations goes to where it counts, and just have fun. I don't know. Just keep it simple.
And then on that note too, I mean, is there any good resources Reddits, forums, I don't know, Facebook groups that people can kind of find to help network with other either charity groups or charity streamers or marathon streamers? Any good resources like that?
There's not a ton right now. I don't think Tiltify, obviously they don't have any sort of community features yet. But I think more than anything, there is the Twitch charity community that's out there. I'm actually the one who owns that, so if you go through that, you'll be able to see me or contact me through that. So you can contact me, or I'd say just contact any group that you've seen raising for charity. And obviously it's going to be a lot harder to contact your desert buses and your GDQs. But there are people out there who are super nice and able to do good work, and they'll give you advice like out of the goodness of their hearts. Because I think that the good thing about the charity community is you'll probably get a lot of good free tips, just because the people who raise for charity usually are pretty giving.
So on that note, we kind of want to open it up now to some questions in the chat. So there's people watching on Periscope, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Mixer.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, now's the time to do it. In the meantime, where are some places that people can follow you and get in contact with you and stuff?
Yeah, so I'm SuperMCGamer on pretty much everything. On YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter. Those are my main avenues. I have a Patreon page. One thing I'm doing there now is I'm making a monthly tutorial type of series. It's not. I don't want to call it tutorial. Maybe too fancy. But I like to talk. I'm talking a lot about stream theory and stuff. Well, like what you guys do here on Behind the Stream. So I'm kind of going into it more specifically. And also, yes, shout outs from Michael and inside the chat to Mindtrack Marathon. It's a nice charity event coming up here in October. I unfortunately can't go because there's another charity event planned the same weekend that I already committed to. Makes me darn sad, but yes.
So it looks like a Wild Abra has a question. If you could tell 2009 MC one thing about future Zeldathons, what would it be?
That's a great question, Abra. Man, that's a hard one. I would say... Dang, this is a hard question. If I could tell them one thing about future Zeldathons, what would it be? Other than they're going to exist, I don't know.
Don't plug in that HDMI cable that had the
don't plug in that HDMI cable. Yeah, no. Be careful with what you're doing. Be careful you're not creating ground loops of power or something. Just be very careful. You win as long as you get $5 per marathon. Yeah, no. Any amount raised is fine, and just keep positive. That's what it's all about.
All right. So it looks like people are a little bit shy today, but at the same time, I think we can do a little bit of a trade-off here, a little bit of trading of plugs. So if we can bring up real quick again, we do have a special promo going on for this episode of Behind the Stream. You'll get 15% off if you use the promo code Behind the Stream EP4 XSplit.com/buy. That goes for every single license tier. So right now I believe our lifetime license is actually on sale for $200. So you use that, get another 15% off. 12-month licenses, 3-month licenses, recurring licenses.
You just took my job, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's up with that? It's like, this is my thing. This is the only thing I get to do besides, kind of talk to him. You took my job. What's up with that?
Well, run it back again.
Oh, man. Anyways, follow us on all our social media for up and coming information on any of the releases that we have or any hot fixes that get put out. XSplit on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, player.me, and Twitter. And just like Lewis just mentioned right now, before he took my job and went in there, you can use the promo code Behind the Stream EP4. That's only good for the next couple hours. You can save yourself an additional 15% off any of the licenses of your choosing. And it's awesome, man. Use it. Stream everything. Video games. You can stream cooking in the kitchen. You can stream whatever, man. Sky's the limit with this production software. You can just about do anything. Anything. Behind the Stream.
That's true. I have something to talk about related to that, if you don't mind. No, I've of course used XSplit for a variety of different things, and I've done. I don't want to call it a series. If I call it a series, we're getting too excited about it. a mini series called MC Overproduces Everything, and I've done a couple streams of it. One of them I streamed was a solitaire, where I took the Blackmagic camera and I pointed it down at a desk that I put a nice piece of green screen muslin on it, and I stretched it out nice and tight, and I played solitaire on this green screen with like physical cards, and I created a YouTube request link thing. So people in my chat could make YouTube requests, and it would just play the video on the desk where I was playing solitaire. So you could put any video you wanted underneath me playing solitaire, and it was ridiculous. And on episode 2 of MC Overproduces Everything, I streamed Deal or No Deal. We played Deal or No Deal in my house, the popular TV game show, where we found the Deal or No Deal PC game, and we just created a whole stream layout in my living room the one day, and it was ridiculous, and it was wonderful. And I love just doing dumb streams that are one-off streams, and it's so cool that I can like make them as in-depth and as high quality as I am able to, when I really shouldn't. I should just not do it at all. So fun.
That card one sounds pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah, I definitely think we need to watch out for next time that happens. Is there any future overproduces coming, or?
Yeah.
See, the thing about MC Overproduces Everything is I can't plan it. The whole idea with the solitaire stream, it went from an idea to live on Twitch in approximately like 45 minutes, and that was exactly what it needs. If it's not spontaneous, it's not going to be hilarious, and so I think that's the motto of that show.
Well, aside from that, you do have a show that is coming soon. It is scheduled. It is another big event. If you can give us another rundown again on the next event coming up for you.
Yeah, the next event is anything other than Zeldathon, and that begins on September 29th. The whole idea behind this Zeldathon is it's going to be our first where we don't play Zelda, which is, and the whole name is a big joke, and it's a lot of fun. And we're going to be playing a handful of wonderful games that are not Zelda, which I think is really interesting. But it's going to feature the usual Zeldathon team. We're preparing for that one. And then beyond that, of course, we have Zeldathon Mission, which is happening in December. And that one is our big Zelda Marathon 6-day event. So people can, if they missed the Zelda here in fall, we got them all covered in winter.
Oh, nice. So where can they go to check out information about the event and all up-and-coming events that you might have? What's the best way for them to...
Yeah, you can go to my Twitter, which is twitter.com/SuperMCGamer, or alternatively, the Zeldathon Twitter is Zeldathons with an S on the end. We still don't have that URL. Maybe one day. But twitter.com/Zeldathons or Zeldathon.net also just has the straight up links right there. So that's a good place to go.
All right, cool. So thank you a bunch for joining us on this episode Behind the Stream. One last chance. Anything at all? Any plugs? Any shout outs? Anything you'd like to say?
No, I'm just happy that you guys had me on, and I'm glad that people hopefully took some fun advice here. I know a lot of it was like, hey, we built our own software to run it, but you know what? Maybe it'll provide some inspiration, and I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, definitely things can be advanced or as simple as possible, but of course, like with all trades, it takes time to hone your craft, and you're kind of always just building up from a solid base. But yeah, pretty much, I mean, what we're doing here is we're adding webcams. You know, you get your player camera, you get your gameplay camera. If you can throw a decent graphic over it, nice, and then you just kind of build from there.
Help me, I'm dying in bitrate hell.
Yeah, I'm actually super glad this call held up.
Right?
As long as it did.
Aquaman's down there messing up our internet lines, man. But yeah, it's pretty awesome to meet you. I didn't know you before this episode, so I'm definitely very interested in checking out the next Zeldathon or any of your up-and-coming events, because they sound like they're pretty amazing, and you do it for a very great cause. So I'm more than ready to check out some of these events, especially the one coming up in a couple weeks.
Thank you. No, it's great. I'm glad that that XSplit and Zeldathon have been like this for so long. A quick last story, very, very quick last story. I remember back all the way at, like, our third marathon, XSplit was releasing the title feature, Highfalutin. They Zeldathon assets to show off the thing, and it was weird because I went on the XSplit blog one day. I was like, "There's the Zeldathon layout," and you guys were using it to show off the new title feature, because I believe I complained back in 2010. I was like, "There's no title feature. I need titles," and luckily you guys not only made title features, nowadays that they're just really advanced. So thank you to XSplit for not only having me on, but for being involved all these years.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good to know that you've been enjoying the program and also been helpful in the development of it as well. And I mean, that goes for anyone watching or reaching out to us. Just talk to us on social media if you need a feature. I mean, I wish we could say we just put it in there tomorrow, but we do our best to make sure to listen to our community and include the features that they request the most.
It's always important for us to get information back, right? Feedback is important because you eventually want to optimize the software for just about anybody. Any new feature that's coming out, you know, we'll see and try to build it into the software, and maybe it'll provide better functionality for everybody overall. So feedback is very important. That's why I say experimenting is pretty good. So if you know, that's why we talk about the PTR and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's why you got to follow us on Twitter at XSplit. Not only can you use the promo code behind the stream EP4, but you'll get informed when we drop new and hot technology into the PTR.
But yeah, again, thanks so much for joining us, MC. We won't keep you too much longer. Best of luck on Zeldathon coming up September 29th.
Watch it.
Make sure to watch it. Twitch.tv/SuperMCGamer. And yeah, thanks again for joining us. I guess your time zone, it's about mid-afternoon, right?
Yeah, mid-afternoon.
So we'll let you get going. Over here we have the bosses knocking on the door. It's time to shut down the power.
Yeah, we're way beyond you know, going home call time, you know. It's over. But yeah, you know, shout outs to you guys for tuning in. Definitely follow him. Make sure you watch Zeldathon and those upcoming events that he has. They seem pretty amazing. I'm definitely gonna be checking them out as well. And yeah, man, it's awesome. What else can I say? It's an amazing cause. Check it out.
All right, thanks to everyone for tuning in to this episode of Behind the Stream, episode 4, featuring SuperMCGamer and all the cool stuff that he's doing with his streams and also with Zeldathon. We'll be back again in about a couple weeks.
Yeah, we made it to episode 4, baby. I'm about to go call my family and tell them we're not canceled yet.
I mean, one more episode and we're syndicated, right?
Dude, one more. Just one more. Getting paid, baby.
Anyway, take it easy, guys. Again, follow us on Twitter, player.me. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our Reddit, XSplit Official. It's all over the place. We're all over there. Thanks again for tuning in.
And remember, Behind the Stream EP4, 15% off any and all licenses that you purchase. Definitely, if you're a beginner and you're trying to get in, visit our YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe to it. We have a lot of tutorials up there, a lot of useful information for people that are just getting started, and even advanced users. So definitely check that out as well. You can find some of our coworkers doing other quirky videos in there and like other streams and episodes, so you can find out more about the people that work in the company. So definitely check that out as well. Yeah, man.
And speaking of work, if you're interested in actually working for XSplit, we do have a lot of positions open. Just go to splitmedialabs.com, click on the career section. We'd love to get people from around the globe. We're a huge, vast, multicultural company. If you've ever had interest in living in the Philippines and working on cool gaming products, then make sure to check that out. Splitmedialabs.com, click on careers. And Mondo, you want to take us out for this episode?
I just did, fool. You extended it. What's wrong with you? I gave you the perfect exit. Anyways, shout outs to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Behind the Stream EP4 promo code 15% off. Follow us on social media. Check out the job section. This company is amazing. It's amazing. There's so many people from so many different places. We'll see you in episode 5. We're not canceled. Can't stop. Won't stop. We're out.